people are upset. Oh, that's too much money. That's too much money for that. In 1968, New York, sanitation workers went on strike to demand higher wages. In just 9 days, 100,000 tons of trash were piled up and rotting in the streets. That's 200 million pounds of trash piled up and rotting in the street. A state of emergency had to be declared. The sanitation workers got their higher wages, all right. But what if every C-suite, Silicon Valley, multimillionaire, billionaire, Wall Street executive disappeared for just 9 days? Would anyone give a fuck? Would you? Would you care? Would that negatively impact your life in some way? $140,000 a year as a garbage collector, as a sanitation worker, is severely underpaid. It's the teachers, the nurses, the retail workers, the fast food workers who would grind society to a halt if they stopped working for 9 days. They deserve.
I wouldn't say I'm embarrassed or ashamed by any means. Like, I don't think I'm above service jobs at all. This just is not what I was expecting. This definitely was not part of the New York City fantasy. Heck, it wasn't even part of the adulthood fantasy, if I'm being real. You were supposed to go to college and like get a degree, and it's all supposed to work out, right? Wrong. I have 3 degrees. 2 bachelors, 1 in math, another in economics. I got my master's last year in marketing, and I've worked as an analyst, as a lead analyst, and this is where I'm at. I'm trying to remain as hopeful as I can, but to be honest, I'm pretty worried, a little bit scared. I've been, pretty emotional, understandably. I just don't know what's going to happen. I'm trying to look at this as a rite of passage, kind of a admissions test into New York City, if you will, really see if I'm up for it. So I'm going to keep pushing, keep doing the dang thing, and hopefully things turn out for the better. If I'm being real, I really just want to find my footing on social media or something, but I need to get real. I need to make money, and that's where I'm at. So I'm gonna, keep pushing, keep trying. Just, really hope that things work out for the better sooner rather than later, because this really sucks. This job market is beyond demoralizing.
See. It's a little shaky there. It's a little shaky there. It's a little shaky there.
Have you been paying attention to the high rate of unemployment for Black workers? Have you been paying attention to the high rate of unemployment for Black workers?
It is traditionally higher than for all workers.
Well, listen, it's through the roof right now. There's hundreds of thousands of Black workers that have been pushed out of the workforce, and the unemployment rates for Black workers and all workers are among the highest they've been since the COVID-19 pandemic. Black workers contribute over $1 trillion to the U.S. economy, but the push out of these workers from the workforce has led to a loss of $37 billion in the GDP, with Black women being among, just so y'all know, the most educated and most active in seeking work, their push out is a glaring warning sign for where our economy is headed, because Black workers, Black women in particular, have always been the canaries in the coal mine. So this is a problem for everyone. Black women are bearing the brunt, but everyone will feel this hurt. I have led letters to Fed Chair Powell calling for action to be taken, who is also a member of FSOC. So I want to ask you, Mr. Secretary, will you commit to analyzing Black unemployment rates specifically and its impacts on financial stability? Yes or no?
I will analyze Black unemployment rates.
Wonderful. And when will you get us a report and a plan of action? I was thinking March 6th.
I can't commit to a date.
Okay. All right. Well, I think March 6th makes sense. That'd give you over a month, which is more than enough time to convene that working group and to report out your findings. I know you already have the infrastructure to do that. So at the end of the day, Black families, Black futures, and the lives and livelihoods of all who call this country home are depending on you to act. And with that, happy Black History Month.
Black women's unemployment is spiking, and if you think it will hit your next paycheck, you're already in trouble. Stay with me. Black women's unemployment just hit 7.5%, almost double the national average, and the drop-off nearly 2.5 times worse than for all women. This split started in early spring, and now every other group of women is following the exact same trend. The last time Black women saw a job crisis like this was during COVID. Before that, it was a 2008 crash. This is what I call double tax, the cost of racism and sexism. That eventually becomes everyone's bill. If you think this is niche, remember, 69% of Black mothers are the household's primary breadwinner. So when the most employed group of women starts losing jobs, something structural is shifting. This isn't random. It's a design flaw in policy, in hiring, and how we measure who counts. And no, this isn't about work ethic. It's about the systems you build your business on. Here's what brand leaders need to hear. If your talent pipeline is leaking Black women, your business model has already failed. Fix your pay band, order your promotion velocity, and stop treating women's economic participation like it's optional. It's not. It's your competitive edge or your collapse warning. The exit economy is what happens when exclusion becomes an operating system and nobody wins. Does this data surprise you or confirm what you see? Drop your thoughts below and hit follow.
Cold.
So I read the January 2026 data for the workforce for you Black women, because I know you probably didn't want to. So first things first, 130,000 jobs have been added to the workforce. Those roles are usually lower wage roles in healthcare, social services, and construction. Next, the overall unemployment rate has gone down, but for us Black women, it's still hovering at about the almost 7%, which is significantly higher than the average. Also, slower hiring processes continues to be a thing for everyone across the board, but specifically how this is affecting Black women is with the slower process means they're being a lot pickier about who they're choosing to interview. And in that, a lot of times they're being pickier on education, untraditional gaps in your resume. So again, I talked about this in a video last week. Like me, I was in the Army. I don't necessarily have a traditional work path because I went to the Army and then to college. So in the systems that might be marked as untraditional. Also, more one-on-one personal experience is not being plagued into your ability to get a job. Also, the labor force is still shrinking. So even though they have roles and they're adding these roles, that does not necessarily mean that qualified applicants are getting these roles, particularly for the lower wage roles. So there is still not a large workforce participation overall for everyone across the board. And also Black women, even if we are still continuing to participate in the workforce, we're still strategically getting underpaid and undervalued and taking up emotional labor that is not adding to our paycheck. So what is the solution? I don't have one. I'm working on it, trying to figure it out. But again, my thing is to keep Black women updated on the data, and so we can be informed and make strategic decisions as we go, and also help us hold organizations and institutions accountable for how they are doing mass layoffs, not just for Black women, but for everybody, and how the workforce needs to change in order to sustain Black women workers. Everybody, but especially Black women. All right. Also, and when I say 101 experience, I mean specifically like untraditional experience. So like me, if I was to go back and apply for a job, my untraditional experience of research and doing stuff on my own, or even providing information here on TikTok, would not be considered adequate enough to get me a job. Does that make sense? I just wanted to make that plain. Okay, bye. One more thing. As we're getting pickier, we're also still dealing with the bias of, we obviously do not have traditional like abilities with nepotism and all the things. So that's why, again, it's more important if you're a Black woman who is still working and you have an opportunity and you know somebody who is qualified, particularly a Black woman who is qualified, we need to continue to support each other, network, click, and do the things to help, because it's the only way systematically it's going to change as Black women is if we work together. All right, bye.
A few days ago, data from the September jobs report finally came out. Do I trust the data that this administration is releasing on the state of unemployment and the economy? No. But what I will say is, looking at the data, there is absolutely no way for them to paint a picture that Black women are not being systematically targeted at unprecedented rates. So let's just look at the numbers. Okay, so let's just actually start with the basics.